I want you to know right on the front end of this, when we get started with this is just, I am uncomfortable. I'm not good at arguing. I'm good at arguing in some things. I'm good at dark humor, but I'm not good at this topic. It makes me uncomfortable, and that's not an opinion. That's truth. I'm uncomfortable talking about controversial subjects, or talking about controversy. Now, are we going to talk about LGBTQ? Or are we going to talk about who won the election? Are we going to talk about what else is controversial? What is a woman? That's controversial. Why? I have no idea, but it's controversial. So, is truth controversial? Well, a lot of people want it to be that way, but we'll get into that. I'm so uncomfortable at doing this that I'm afraid I'm going to get off topic. Like, even now, I've got this kind of scripted, so I'm just gonna roll with the script and interject a few things along the way, and we'll just see where it goes. But I want you to know right on the front end, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway. Am I afraid of being canceled? I don't care. But I'm sorry, I don't care. Canceled. Give me a freaking break. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm not. Is the whole vaccination thing controversial? Absolutely. Is it truth? Well, it exists. So a vaccination exists. But yeah, where am I going with that? Well, I'm not going very far with that. I just thought I'd mention it because it popped up on the screen. What is controversial, and should truth be controversial? And then again, what is truth? See, I'm already rambling, and I've got 50 minutes before I actually start. This is why I need to script these things, because if I start rambling, who knows what's going to come out. I know what I believe. To argue about it is an absolute waste of your time. And it's also an absolute waste of my time. Is the wall controversial? Yeah, very controversial. It exists. Not completely, but it exists. Should it be completed? That's an opinion. We're going to talk about the idea of opinion as well. You know what isn't controversial? I really like my morning coffee. Have I had too much of it? No. Let's just see where we go with this. Good morning, I'm Bill McConnell. I help people standing still. I help them to make personal progress for professional results, one step at a time. Where I'm going with this today is I don't know. I'm uncomfortable doing this. I'm uncomfortable with this topic. And why did I come up with this topic? I felt very prompted just to toss it out there. Am I trying to get a bunch of likes and comments on Facebook and YouTube? No, not really. I'll just go with it. But what's controversy? And that's kind of where we're going. Not really. Truth obviously comes into play here because I'm talking about truth. But mostly, what's controversial? And that's where we want to go. And if I press the button, I will get the right thing to come up on screen. And here it is. What's controversial? Absolutely everything. Because no matter what you say, there's going to be someone that's going to argue on the other side of it. Some people do it just because they like to argue. But what's controversial in this world, for us today? Absolutely everything. Excuse me, everybody has an opinion. Now, I've got this pretty much scripted. I'll interject a little bit, but I've got this pretty much scripted just to keep myself as on topic as possible. So, and I'm not kidding. I've had this dream more than once. Maybe this is what brought me to today. But I've had this dream more than once, and I'm going to share this dream. And I always have the dream, but I never really have the outcome. I never really know what's going to end. You ever have one of those dreams where you're in the middle of something, but you just don't get to the end of it, and then you wake up? This is a recurring dream for me. Kind of crazy. So, many times I've imagined myself in a coffee shop, minding my own business, And in walks a few people with wildly different opinions and views than myself. They just come in, and I'm sitting alone, I'm having my coffee. They just got back from some rally of like-minded people, like-minded of them, and they're all fired up. I mean, they've been to a rally, they're pumped, they're outspoken, they're loud, and they're looking to further their argument. They're looking for an argument to further themselves and make themselves feel good, because a lot of people feel good when they think they can win an argument, and then they look at me. Well, why? I don't know. That's just the way they are. Now, usually in groups like this, there's one that appears to be the leader of the group, and I'm singled out, because I'm sitting over there alone, I'm singled out as an easy target for further rhetoric on their part. I have this dream. Do I avoid coffee shops? No. I like coffee. So there's that. But I don't like spending $7 for coffee, so, I like coffee at home more. Let's go on. I'm singled out because I'm an old, white, heterosexual male, although I don't have a sign that says heterosexual on me. It's probably just kind of obvious. Maybe it's the wedding ring. I don't know. But I'm an old white male who, in this current day and age, we're blamed for just about everything that's theoretically wrong in their world. Not our world. Their world. I'm the old white guy, and I'm the guy that's to blame. I'm approached and asked a loaded question. Now, the loaded question doesn't matter. It's just loaded because there's no way to answer the question. It's an opinion question. A question I am fully able to answer, but will only fuel argument and outrage. Pick a question, plug it in. It's an opinion question, and my answer is only going to fuel argument and outrage. So it's a question that they're very opinionated on, and they figure just because of how I look, my opinion is going to fuel outrage and anger. Better go on. So I have several options. I really do. I keep thinking through the options. I have the dream, but then I keep thinking through the options. What are the options if this happened to me? Well, first of all, I could just ask questions. I could find out where they're coming from and side with them. Oh, yeah, I'm for that. Oh, yeah, I'm for that too. I can tell them what I think they believe, and I can agree with them completely. And in theory, I could diffuse any possible arguments, maybe even become their friends, because I just agree with everything that they're saying. Except that would be a lie. Unless they're convinced I'm lying, to avoid an argument and call me out on it. Well, if they say I'm lying, that just is the beginning of another argument. And clearly they just want to have an argument. And I try to avoid arguments as much as possible. And yet here I am talking about this. Probably start an argument. Oh well. Keep to the script. The second possible way that I could, deal with this situation is I can give them my honest opinion. Hey, buddy, what do you think about this? Well, here's my honest opinion, which would be pretty much the opposite of theirs. And again, an argument begins. Retort, refute, raise voice to their opinion. Please understand at no point since the start of this have I mentioned about the idea of truth. Hang with me. So, here's the thing. An argument is basically two sides with opposing views. Each side trying to convince the other side that you are wrong and I am right, or vice versa. That's what an argument is. You're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, whatever it is. Here's a third scenario that I could act out in this situation. I could choose satire and dark humor, rooted in my own opinion and absolutely hilarious to any bystander. I'm kind of good at that. I'm kind of good at situational humor. Just one-sided humor, I try hard. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But situational humor, I'm kind of good at it, but I have to be in a situation to do it. So here I am in a situation, and I would do it. And I'd be rather good at this, but then again, what would be the point? Just getting them mad? Just having them point the finger more and more and more? And which finger is, again, an opinion? A fourth possible outcome. I could choose not to answer. I could start by asking their name and offering mine. I could choose to be pleasant, composed, and be genuinely concerned. And I'm not trying to be funny about that. I mean, just genuinely concerned, and just try and be friends. Just, not offering my opinion, but be someone who actually listens. But I would never offer my opinion, because if I did offer my opinion, it would only lead to an argument, if they so choose to argue once I give an opinion. In this scenario, they've given their opinion over and over and over again. And I'm just trying to avoid an argument. I don't like arguments. That's where we are. So I hate controversy. I hate it. I hate fighting like that. I hate being part of it, and I hate having to defend myself. I keep looking for possible outcomes to this scenario, this coffee shop scenario. I keep looking for it. Where do I want this conversation to end up? I'm thinking at the end of the conversation with these people, what's the best possible outcome? Now, I am a Christian. I'm a Christ follower. I believe strongly, very strongly, in the truth of the Bible. I believe very strongly in Jesus Christ. I believe very strongly in God. I believe very strongly in those things. Where do I want this conversation to end up? Me shoving the Bible down their throat? Shoving the truth down their throat? Well, that's not a good outcome. That doesn't work. It does not work. I'm starting to ramble, so let me go on, stick to the script as best I can. So, where do I want this the situation to end? With me winning the argument? Me looking good, smart, intelligent? Or them winning the argument? Me looking stupid, ill-prepared, and narrow-minded? Let's not forget the fact that social media is by itself a frenzy. Because let's be honest, somebody has their camera on. Nothing will be erased. It will be out there forever. And that scares some people. Oh well. Here I am throwing this out there. So do I want to win the argument? Do I want them to win the argument? Or do I not want to have an argument at all? I could pretend to be deaf. Maybe not. So for me, this is a no-win scenario. I can't win in this situation, and that is my point. Do I need to win? Do I need to look stupid and idiot-like? Well, me looking stupid is an opinion. Other people's opinions. Me looking like an idiot is an opinion. Other people's opinions. But it's a no-win scenario in my mind. If I could only just listen, be a friend, be the best person that I can be. I guess that's the best case scenario. But in my mind, I'm thinking there's no way for me to win this point. But is that a bad thing? Is it bad to be in a no-win scenario? I'm reminded of Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3, I'm just going to give this to you. Daniel chapter 3 is the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It's one of my most favorite portions of Scripture, the entire Bible, where they chose not to follow the opinion of the king. Bear in mind, this is a political situation. They are captives in a foreign land. Their land has been conquered. They've been dragged off to a foreign land. They are considered as slaves, although high-class slaves, but slaves nonetheless to do the bidding of the king. And the king had this wild idea that his opinion was the only opinion that mattered. That's where we are with Daniel chapter 3. And because they didn't fall into his opinion, and they didn't fall into his rhetoric, they didn't fall into his delusion, they were sentenced to death. They were sentenced to death, and they were going to be thrown into a fire. The king is irate that they wouldn't follow his opinion. And his opinion was that everybody should worship him and him only. That's his opinion. A lot like some people and groups of people that are around today. But then again, I digress. They're getting ready to be thrown into the furnace, and they decided, prompted, they said, we don't have to defend the truth. Truth needs no defense. Understand that. If it's true, it does not need a defense because it's true. it's true. Now, Daniel chapter 3, verse 16 says, "We do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter." They're looking at death, and they're facing the king who wants them to bow to his opinion. Bow to my opinion, or we'll make you look bad on social media. Bow to this opinion, or I'll never follow you on social media again. Bow to our opinion, and we may come to your house and with spray paint and put stuff on it. I don't know what the case may be, but we don't need to defend ourselves. They're looking at death, and they stand there and they say, we don't need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If you're going to throw us into the fiery furnace, God will save us. But we don't need to defend ourselves. Throw us into the fire and we're going to die. That's fine. We don't need to defend ourselves. God's going to do what God's going to do. And the end of this story in Daniel chapter 3 is they were thrown into the fire, and they weren't alone. There was a fourth in there, which was the Lord himself, and they did not die. They didn't even smell like smoke. It changed the opinion of the king. Just a flat-out miracle. Undeniable. That's right. Undeniable. And I think to myself, I don't need to defend myself against anybody, which comes down to the thought of true. Now realize this is a bit of a sidelight, but realize this: the most popular TV shows, series, movies, watched by millions upon millions of people over and over and over again, all have one formula for commercial success. They want to make money? Controversy. Reality TV, the only reason reality TV is successful, and by why millions of people watch it, is because they're always arguing. People love to have an argument without being in the argument. People love to watch an argument without being part of the argument. It's a little different when it's personal, but we learn how to argue. Kids, young people today, young adults today, learn how to argue by watching reality TV. They argue. Even on Survivor, it's based on argument and deception, being sneaky. The Amazing Race, where we think, where's the controversy in that? Well, what do? We get the teammates arguing with each other. It's got to be on screen. It has to be on screen. A show without controversy is never successful. Ever. I Love Lucy. There's even an argument about that within the show, within the series. That's TV. Controversy, argument. A show without controversy is never successful. So, what is truth? Well, I'm going to leave that up to you. And you're saying, Bill, that's a cop-out. You're not telling us what truth really is. Well, yeah, I am, kind of. But what's true cannot be refuted. It can't be. And there is an argument where it says, where someone would come to me, this is another one of my wild dreams, where someone would come to me and argue with me about my Christian faith. And I'm not great with apologetics, but I know what I believe. I can't state it eloquently, but I can state it well enough. But I don't have to defend it. But people want defense. And my only defense is this: people telling me that God is not true. And this is radical. This is weird. It's an opinion. But my thought is that I can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's the two of us right now. Let's just die. And let's see what happens. Now, that's a controversial thought right there. But truth is the truth. Where am I going? Truth is something that stands apart from opinion and feeling. It stands up. Opinion and feeling have nothing to do with truth. Now, my opinion may be true, but only because I believe what is true. My opinion doesn't make it true. And that's a big problem today. Many people have an opinion, and their opinion, they've thrust upon other people, rallied a bunch of millions of people behind them saying, this is true, this is true. I could go with, we could go with gender fluidity, or we could go with climate change. It doesn't matter, but an opinion doesn't make truth true. Okay? It's an opinion. People all over the world are rallying other people behind their opinion. And it's just not true. Opinions and feelings don't make something true. Okay? The most obvious one is this. with regard to the current day and age is there are only two genders. That's the truth. Biologically, you cannot deny it. Historically, you cannot deny it. It's the truth. Your opinion can't change it. And your feelings can't change it. In this day and age, people are doing everything in their power to bend politics, environment, culture, family, community, identity to fit their opinion, their feelings. But it is their own personal opinion. It doesn't make any of it true. The content of this entire live stream that I've just done is, guess what? My opinion. And I've talked about truth, and I've talked about some things that are true. And I've talked a lot about opinions. But the content of this entire live stream is my opinion. But it doesn't change what's true. It can't change what's true. Because truth doesn't change. It's true. It is. Right now, in my kitchen, under my sink, is a busted pipe. It's a drain pipe. I can run water, but it's going to leak on the way out. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That's the truth. And whether I sit here and think and say to myself, you know what, this doesn't have, it's not really a leak, I can just ignore it, or the pipe is good, it's just different from the other pipes. No, it's a leak. And that's the truth. Me thinking it's not a broken pipe, or not a cracked pipe, or not a leak, isn't going to change a thing. Because what's true is, it's a cracked pipe. I think you know where I'm going. Nobody's opinion or feelings can change what is true. And that's not my opinion. That is the very nature of truth itself. So, come down out of whatever it is you're on or off and realize that truth is truth. You can't change it. Your opinion doesn't change it. Your feelings don't change it. That's not my opinion. That's the truth. Now, I'm still uncomfortable. And I don't know if anybody, the 7 or 8 people that will watch this video may have an opinion, and that's okay. Their opinion is fine. So is mine. My opinion is fine. Doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm Bill McConnell. Once you conquer yourself, everything else becomes possible. Have a great week.